Bro, that's his signature colors or whatever. And you're a stupid brother. You're a brother. But, bro, this shit looks like a Hot Wheel, bro.
Format with giant mansion.
Like, that shit actually looks goofy as fuck. Like, I don't care if y'all say that hard. That shit like...
Come on! What's the matter with you? There is no tomorrow! There is no tomorrow! There is no tomorrow!
What it do, nephew? It's your Uncle Lo. I'm coming at you, some grandmother loving new. Now, this video right here is coming from Media Pastimes. And this is a very interesting video because growing up, everybody has seen MTV Cribs, right? You've always had that imagination of what your crib would be set up like, how you would do your fridge, the cars that would be in the driveway. This video is titled The History and Fakery of MTV Cribs. Looking back. Now, not gonna waste no more time. Let's get into that. Make sure you hit that like button for the algorithm, man. Uncle Lou. Make sure you share the video till your face turn blue. Then hit that subscription with that notification muscle, because we on the way to 10K in 2025. And you know in March, we trying to get that 6.5. Now, without further ado, nephew, and they say, it's your Uncle Lulu. Believe me.
Making its debut in September of 2000, MTV Cribs gave viewers a first-hand look into the homes of various...
Jason Segel? Wait.
In September of 2000,
How I Met Your Mother?
MTV Cribs gave viewers...
He's with 70 Show? Or are they just acting?
A first-hand look into the homes of various celebrities, from actors to musicians to athletes. Homes featured on the show ranged from the smallest, most humble of apartments to the most overly excessive mansions you can imagine. But like most reality television, there was a bit of fakery going on behind the scenes.
Of course.
We'll be exploring all things MTV Cribs in today's episode of Looking Back.
This is going to be a banger. Hit the like button. I feel like this is going to show what a lot of people had expectations for, right? Especially like today, people want to show their highlights. It's the same thing. It's just we're in the social media era.
Tomorrow at 10 p.m., view the world through the eyes of the 10 spot. Nelly.
What's up?
Russell Simmons.
Come on in.
And O-Town.
I'm not here, you better not.
On the next all-new Cribs, turn on the new at the 10 spot.
At the turn of the millennium, a typical day of programming on MTV looked a lot different than it does now. For starters, there was just a handful of programs in the channel's rotation that fell under the reality show category. But most of the schedule was taken up by, well, actual music. I know, it's crazy to think that a channel called MTV was, at one point, a channel you could go to for music-related content. But things were slowly changing. MTV2, which launched in August of 1996, was quickly becoming the go-to channel for viewers who just wanted to see music videos, which in turn caused MTV's main network to make a shift towards programming that wasn't necessarily music related. Between the years of 1996 and 2008, MTV had a primetime programming block called 10 Spot, which aired between the hours of 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. The block did occasionally feature live concerts and music related content, but animated shows such as Daria...
What the... Y'all seen that? Yo!
Feature live concerts and music-related content, but animated shows such as Daria and Beavis and Butthead garnered the highest ratings for that time slot. Eventually, the network began to incorporate more live-action reality shows into the 10-spot lineup, which finally brings us to the subject of today's episode, as in March of 2000, MTV announced an upcoming series called MTV Cribs. In the announcement article, the show was described as a series in which music stars take viewers on a personal tour of every corner of their homes, from their bedrooms to their refrigerators. Each episode will also have a news segment which will cover topics such as security, privacy, and home studios. Now, if that last portion of the show's description doesn't sound familiar, that's because it was cut completely by the time that MTV Cribs made its debut.
Wow.
A lot of MTV Cribs' DNA comes from a popular TV series called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. But the creatives behind MTV Cribs wanted to differentiate the show from Lifestyles, as they knew that the show's demographic would predominantly be much younger and wouldn't really care about the ins and outs of home security. Lifestyles, on the other hand, mostly appealed to people who like to sit around in their mansions all day, drinking champagne, eating caviar, and sucking down jars of Grey Poupon.
Pardon me, do you have any Grey Poupon?
The first 3 homes featured
Was
on
that
the
Wayne's
debut episode
World?
of MTV Cribs would be those
Not
of
the guy, you
Moby,
know that, huh?
Ozzy Osbourne, and Jewel. And whether you've watched a more recent episode of Cribs or an entry from its first season, the format has remained pretty much the same for over 20 years. A tour of Moby's Lower East Side Manhattan loft was the very first segment in MTV Cribs history, and this pretty much set the tone for the show for the next 20 plus years. Starting off, Moby shows off his
years?
bathroom, which doesn't have a mirror or a shower curtain, because he's an absolute madman with no hair on his head or any worries about having a wet floor. He then shows off a few pieces of furniture in his living room area, followed by a brief tour of his kitchen, including a quick look into his fridge. Moby then showed off a sweet recording studio with a massive collection of vinyl records, finishing out the tour with a look at his upstairs area and rooftop deck. And there you have it, the first segment in MTV Cribs history. The 2 tours that followed in this debut episode with Ozzy and Jewel were pretty much the same, but Ozzy's portion of the episode is very important because it would change the face of reality television and MTV forever. The creator of MTV Cribs, Nina L. Diaz, was on location during this tour. When finishing up that day of shooting, she said to herself, "There's a show." And less than 2 years later, the Osbournes debuted, eventually hitting record high ratings for MTV.
I remember that show,
But as for MTV Cribs, the show would change just a little bit after its debut episode. Going into an episode of Cribs, you expect a few things. First of all, a tour of someone's house, obviously, including the master bedroom, in which the bed is always described as where the magic happens.
This is my bedroom. A lot of people will be very predictable. They'll be like, this is where the magic happens. This is where
This way Uncle Lou watch videos.
the magic does not happen all the time.
So now I guess we're gonna go upstairs, because that's where the magic happens.
It turns out that New Kids on the Block member Joey McIntyre was the first person to use the expression on MTV Cribs in Season 1, Episode 4.
This is where it all goes down, folks. This is where the magic happens.
Another portion of each house tour that became a staple was
Oh
a
my
brief look
gosh.
into the fridge of each celebrity. In the first
Branding.
episode, Ozzy didn't show his refrigerator at all, and for some reason the footage of Moby's fridge was edited, so we only got a quick look into his freezer. But Jewel, on the other hand, gave a more detailed look into her fridge, which set a precedent for the series. This was, without a doubt in my mind, another way for MTV to sneak product placement into the episode. Like, I just want to know how many bottles of Cristal were sold because of this show.
Everybody always has that Cristal stuff. So I went to the local Piggly Wiggly to see if they had some, and I found Cristal Light. So cheap too, like those guys are always saying they're paying like $1,000 a bottle, and this stuff was like $3 for a 6-pack. So I don't know if it was a sale, I don't know. I just bought a lot of it.
And last but not least, a look at least one vehicle or an entire vehicle collection. In the first episode of the
Wow.
show,
That was Ryan Dunn. Holy shit. Dog, that's an error right there. That's the Jackass error, guys.
only one car is actually shown on camera, but it wasn't part of the tour or anything, it just happened to be parked in Ozzy's driveway. Vehicles became a big part of MTV Cribs in the seasons that followed, and that's not surprising because car culture was exploding in the 2000s, with the help of shows like Overhaulin', Top Gear, and of course, Pimp My Ride. Once the show found its footing and a formula that worked, MTV Cribs took off. And eventually, special MTV Cribs episodes with one central theme or celebrity were produced, such as the Mariah Carey Penthouse Tour episode,
That was a
50 Cent Mansion
crazy
episode,
episode.
MTV Cribs Jackass Edition, and MTV Cribs B2K Edition. The show's format was also recycled for a number of spin-offs. The first one aired on MTV's sister station CMT and was aptly named CMT Cribs, focusing solely on the homes of country music artists and other celebrities from the southern United States. Teen Cribs premiered in 2009
Kyle
and revolved
Busch.
around showing off the homes of ordinary teenagers with rich parents. And it was, just as bad as it sounds. The final spin-off was Extreme Cribs, which premiered.
Yeah, that would be you know what's funny? I always used to see Teen Cribs on the scripts, but it's like, why would I watch that? You know what I'm saying? I think I was around. It's just frustrating because you're like, bro, it's not even your money.
In 2011. And this one was all about showcasing the most unusual homes in the world. And I have to say, this is probably the best spin-off of them all. And MTV Cribs had such a big cultural impact that there were just so many parodies of this show during the peak of its popularity.
So let's begin the tour. So basically, this is it.
Chappelle Show.
What's up, MTV? Come on in, you broke motherfuckers. See how I'm living.
But as time goes by, revelations are being made about a lot of these reality television shows that made a big splash in the 2000s. Sometimes the items, vehicles, or even houses shown on Cribs weren't actually owned by the celebrity in question. One of the earliest examples in the show's history being a 2001 tour of Ja Rule's Miami mansion. The thing is, this actually wasn't his mansion at all. Rather, he rented it for the episode. But here's the thing, everywhere you look, whether it's on YouTube or pretty much any pop culture news website, it's stated that Ja Rule tried to pass this off as his own home. But literally right at the start of the segment, it clearly says Star Island Rental. Not only that, but Ja Rule flat out admits that the mansion is rented during his introduction.
While some players around the beach and they rent rooms and such things like that, we rent mansions to have good times.
With that being said, giving a tour of a house that you don't even own is pretty lame. I don't know why he didn't just show off his own home. It definitely would have saved him a bit of money because in 2004, the owner of this rented mansion sued 3 parties involved with the episode: Ja Rule's record label Murder Inc., MTV, and Universal Studios. The home was severely damaged during the weekend in which this episode was taped. Holes were left in the walls, doors were broken, furniture was destroyed, the driveway was damaged, and last but not least, condoms and syringes were found in various areas of the home.
I knew they were going to say that.
When the owner of the mansion, Jeanette Varela, rented the home to Ja Rule, the rental agreement stated that no more than 8 adult occupants were allowed on the premise, and parties weren't allowed. But Ja Rule proceeded to invite over 600 guests to the home during that weekend stay. And one of them was Vin Diesel, and he counts as at least 2 people. I mean, look at the size of those guns. And I don't need to explain why MTV and Ja Rule being involved with this lawsuit makes sense, but Universal Studios' involvement boils down to the fact that a Fast and Furious movie clip was shown within the episode, which is a little bit of a reach if you ask me. This episode can only be watched in really low quality on the internet, but its legacy will never be forgotten.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, man, I'm dang old MTV Cribs, man, they're talking about old Ja Rule on there, man. They got that dang old whole refrigerator full of crystal champagne, man.
On a related note, JoJo shared an episode with Tony Hawk and Ryan Nyquist in 2005, and in her segment, she showed off what was described as her Cape Cod vacation home. But it turns out that this was actually her uncle's house. To JoJo's credit, she was the one who revealed this information during an interview with the Huffington Post in 2015, but I still think that she should have pulled the Ja Rule by saying that it was a rental or something. As for British pop star Robbie Williams, his Cribs segment was filmed inside of what he claimed was his own castle in the village of St. Catherine, England, but he was actually renting it from actress Jane Seymour, and didn't apologize for doing so until 17 years after the episode aired. And this last example of a rented home being shown on MTV Cribs came to light in 2021 when Naturi Naughton revealed that 3LW used a rented house for their appearance on the show. When revealing this information, Naturi stated that the group did this solely because of the promotion an artist received by appearing on the show. And I mean, you can't argue with that because anytime a musician or musical act appeared on Cribs, it was pretty much guaranteed that one or more of their songs was going to be played during the episode. But I think
But that just makes sense too, like, because I know it doesn't feel like it now, but I remember at the time I was young, but there was no social media. There was just TV, you know? You had to tap into TV. So to be on TV back in the early 2000s, early to mid 2000s, that was like the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you made it to TV, like, look, mom on TV, that was the thing. But the internet's so big now, you know? But I could see how that's you know, a lucrative look.
We can all agree that it's still really lame to pass off a rented home as your own. There are also a few examples of rented vehicles being shown on Cribs. Starting off with Bow Wow, details about his appearance on Cribs are often incorrect. Bow Wow actually made 2 different appearances on MTV Cribs, the first being a 2005 episode that he shared with Rick Thorne and Al Harris. This is the one that you can easily watch on YouTube, where Bow Wow gave a tour of his Atlanta mansion and showed off his Ferrari, a BMW, and his friend's Mercedes-Benz. The other appearance is from just 2 years later in 2007 in an episode that he shared with Don Omar and Rudy Johnson, this time giving a tour of his Miami condo. Bow Wow's second appearance on MTV Cribs basically doesn't exist anymore other than these 2 screenshots that you're looking at right now. but Bow Wow supposedly showed off 3 cars that hadn't previously been shown in his first appearance on Cribs: a Bentley, a Lamborghini, and a Cadillac Escalade. All 3 of those cars had the word Prestige printed on them, which is the name of a popular Miami luxury car rental company. Even though it's pretty lame to show off a rented car and claim it as your own, Bow Wow made 2 different appearances on Cribs within 2 years. So I'm guessing that he was still driving the cars that he had already showed from his episode in 2005, and it's very possible that the Cribs production team pressured him into renting vehicles for his second appearance on the show, instead of just having him show off the same cars from his previous segment. Although this is the same dude who eventually made claims about flying on a private jet when he actually wasn't.
This is on my flight, but on Instagram posted a picture of a private jet catching traveling in NY. Travel day, NYC press run for growing up hip hop. Let's go. I promise to give y'all the hottest. Woo. I ain't gonna lie, he know it. I remember that time too, bro. This low-key shut down. This was around like blue dress, white and gold dress. Blue and black versus white and gold. This was around the same time of that, bro. They were clowning him because of this. And then he tried to pass it off like, I never said that I was blah, 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 blah. Come on, bro.
So who knows?
He got caught.
I mentioned earlier that 50 Cent
1080.
received a full episode for the tour of his Connecticut mansion. This place is truly the definition of excess. 21 bedrooms, 35 bathrooms, 2 basketball courts, an indoor and outdoor pool, hot tubs, several game rooms, a recording studio, a cinema room, a mini casino, a guest house, and so much more. The mansion itself seems to be cursed in some way because its former owner, Mike Tyson, sold the property to 50 Cent for about $4.4 million after he was forced to declare bankruptcy in 2004. And 50 Cent ended up listing the home for $18.5 million in 2007, so right around the time that this Cribs episode aired. The house was listed for sale for over 12 years and ended up selling for $2.9 million. And it turns out that much—
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, that's terrible, bro. He bought it for 4.4? And I guess he did this as a business play. He listed it for 18.5, but ended up selling for 2.9. Wow.
Much like Bow Wow's second—
I mean, I guess, because it's like, bro, what am I going to do with all of this?
An appearance on Cribs, 50 Cent also showed off some vehicles that weren't his during this episode. Some might say that all of the cars he showed off in this episode were rented or borrowed, but that didn't seem to be the case. These 3 Ferraris though, these did not belong to 50 Cent. Around the time that this episode aired, an eagle-eyed viewer noticed that there were some strange number decals printed on the windshield of each Ferrari, and recognized that the same numbers were printed on these 3 identical Ferraris that belonged to a collector in Connecticut. A member on the Ferrari chat forum claimed that the owner of these Ferraris let 50 Cent borrow the cars while MTV Cribs was on location. Not only that, but he flat out admitted that his Ferraris were rentals after he filed for bankruptcy in 2015. Whereas the 3 Pontiacs off to the side don't have those numbers, which leads me to believe that 50 Cent actually owned those cars. The examples I just shared are the most high-profile examples of fakery in MTV Cribs history, but I guarantee you that more celebrities will come forward as time goes by. In a 2015 interview, Redman himself admitted that the MTV Cribs production team tried to pressure him into using a rental home for his appearance on the show.
I said, for some reason, I feel like some of them motherfuckers is just renting the house to do that shit. And find out some of them was. I can't do that.
The production team showed up to his Staten Island apartment at the crack of dawn to film his Cribs segment, and television history was made. Referred to as his De La Casa, Redman's apartment was one of the first homes featured on MTV Cribs that didn't make the viewer question their self-worth, because it was just so damn relatable. His bedroom had a Sega Dreamcast and a bottle of baby lotion set up on the nightstand. His collection of DVDs was blocking the view of a gold record, and he had a vintage Spuds MacKenzie sign on the wall. The bathroom didn't have any toilet paper, but the herbal essences was—
Alright, bro. You gotta have toilet paper, bro.
Fully stocked. And what comes next is easily the best part of the segment. As the camera crew makes their way into the downstairs area of the apartment, Redman shows off some more DVDs. He has a sick collection, by the way. Shout out to American Movie. But you can see a dude sleeping on the floor while all of this is happening, and that's actually Redman's cousin Sugar Bear. And when they do that signature MTV Cribs camera zoom in on him sleeping, I mean, has there ever been a better comedic moment in television history? Redman ends the segment by showing off his dollar box, giving a shout out to some Gorton's frozen grilled fish fillets, and tells us to just rub these 2 doorbell wires together if we ever need to find him. That, my friends, is, in my opinion at least, the greatest MTV Cribs segment ever filmed. That being said, I do also love the Jackass edition of Cribs. This is just a perfect episode from start to finish. Party Boy giving a tour of his Toyota Tacoma pickup truck is just an all-time classic. Bam Margera also showed off the house from season 1 of Viva La Bam for this special, but showed up on Cribs again for season 11 in 2005. This segment was filmed towards the tail end of Viva La Bam, right around the time that Bam and his then girlfriend Jen Revelle split up, and you could just see how annoyed she was by his antics during this episode. It's kind of depressing to watch these episodes back to back because you can just see their relationship unraveling. Another episode that rarely gets mentioned is the Sum 41 Cribs segment, where the band's now former drummer Steve-O gave a tour of his parents' house, and it was just as hilarious as it sounds.
I don't want my parents to know about this. This was like the most pornified area in the house. Like this, you have no idea what I was doing there when I was like 13, man. In her own bedroom. That's just sacrilegious. I should be killed. I should be shot for that.
Some might prefer the more traditional MTV Cribs format with giant mansions and exotic cars, but as time goes by, the more
Bro, Hulk Hogan, what the fuck? I just peeped that. Like,
MTV.
I'm playing GTA. That's one of the cars from GTA. I'm sorry I don't know the name, but bro, that's his signature colors or whatever. And you're a stupid nigga, brother. You're a nigga, brother. But bro, this shit looks like a Hot Wheel, bro.
Format with giant mansions.
Like that shit actually looks goofy as fuck. Like I don't care if y'all say that hard. That shit like, bro, that shit look like a toy, bro.
And exotic cars, but
like
as time goes by, the more
car.
humble MTV Cribs segments have just aged so much better. But my opinion means nothing because after an almost decade-long hiatus, MTV Cribs returned for its 18th season in August of
I never watched those when it came back though.
2021, with its 19th season just wrapping up in January of this year. There was also a short-lived revival on Snapchat from 2017 to 2018, although the format was slightly different compared to its cable TV counterpart. As long as people never get tired of watching wealthy celebrities flaunt their valuables on camera, Cribs will undoubtedly receive a 20th season, and it most likely won't be the end of the series. The show is so cheap to produce, and the series creator Nina L. Diaz is now Chief Creative Officer and President of Content for MTV and Showtime. And seeing as this is one of the first shows she ever developed in her television career, she will undoubtedly want to see it go on for as long as possible. But that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on
I appreciate this one. This one was a pretty interesting video. Pretty nostalgic, to say the least. A lot of the stuff that we seen on there, or at least that I seen in this video, I want to say I did know, you know, but there was things that I didn't know, you know what I mean? For instance, you find that all the time, especially in my time on YouTube, trying to find the old episodes or clips of stuff. So deep diving it, shout out to, I want to say Media Pastimes for doing that. But it's not always what it cracked up to be, guys. Like a lot of people will just do things for the show of it. You know what I'm saying? To help their brand. And everything is for a reason, is for promotion. Now, if you enjoyed that, I'm thinking about Friday night. Hopefully this video drops by tonight, which is Friday morning. But Friday night, I'm trying to go live. If not, we're going to go live Saturday. We're going to go live Saturday. And I'm going to try to go live at least twice Saturday. I really want to go live in the morning / afternoon. If not, for sure, I'm going to go at night. But either way, just stay up to date. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell with that's next to that subscription. The majority of you guys that tapped in is not subscribed. So hit that notification bell so you get that notification when your Uncle Lou go live. All right, Nisi, nephew, I'll catch you.